Adam here, So Is Your Podcast. I have another interview for you today. I got to sit down with Daemon Hillin to talk about his life, his career. He is a producer, and his newest movie is The Long Night, which is available now in select theaters and on VOD. Cool, moody horror movie, so make sure you check that out. This was a really awesome conversation because I don't think I've ever got to talk to just a straight-up producer before. And as a movie fan, we all kind of have an idea what a producer does, but the word producer seems to mean so many things, from my point of view as an outsider. So enjoy the conversation and look forward to my review of The Long Night, which is available now, coming soon. Hey everyone, Adam here, So Is Your Podcast. I'm sitting down with Daemon Hillin to talk about his newest movie, The Long Night. How you doing, Daemon?
Adam, I'm good. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on. This should be fun.
Thanks, bro. Likewise.
Yeah, so before we get to The Long Night, I always like to ask creative people, it's kind of the one boilerplate question I have, is to go all the way back to the beginning of your creative journey and kind of what was your path to movies in general, because you were involved before you were directing.
Right. So this, my passion for movies and film came from a young age, hearing my grandfather tell stories. And as a kid, you would never think that, like, how can I have a career where I could tell stories? I was just so captivated by it. Um, cut to, like, I'm 27 years old. I'm still trying to find my way in life. And, an opportunity arose. And I had a real estate investor that wanted to get into, do some creative work in documentary filmmaking. So he asked me to do it for him, and I put it together. And that was the start of really understanding. I don't know anything about this industry. And that put me on a path to really, like, study and get a mentor. And so I ended up finding a mentor, Ryan R. Johnson, who is my producing partner on this film, The Long Night. But Ryan took me under his wing, and for like 4 or 5 years, he taught me everything he knew about packaging, finance, scheduling, everything from physical production to, just like, how do I actually make the movie? Because it's a daunting task, really.
Right.
y- you know. So I did that, and then finally, I felt like I had enough knowledge, and I just went and I made my first movie. This one right here, A Stranger in Paradise. I made it in Thailand. My very first movie, back in 2012.
Awesome. So were you working in real estate, or you just knew a guy in real estate?
Yeah, no, I was in real estate and finance. So I started in, like, in fashion, right? So I had, like, fashion contracts. I went to Milan, Italy, Munich, Germany, Athens, Greece. I lived all over the world. Lived in Japan for 3 years. Um, that wasn't for me. It wasn't like, I didn't take the joy in it, and I was that longing feeling of, like, what am I going to do with my life? Um, and then I'm like, let's do business. So I transitioned into mortgage and real estate. So I was doing very well in this until 2008, and then the markets completely crashed.
Yep.
I went from having, like, I had like, a 1,400 square foot office filled with desks and computers and agents and, like, all this, and then all of a sudden, like, overnight, you couldn't refinance a loan. You couldn't. Nobody has equity in their property. You can't do anything. So I shut the doors, and that's when I was like, what am I gonna do? And I moved to LA. My sister said, come stay with me on my floor. And I was like, let's do it. And I just took odd end jobs. Like, I was a caterer, or, I would drive like 45 minutes away to make like $70.
Right.
It was really, 27 was hard. It was like the hard year. It was like good years, but a hard years for me.
Well,
You know?
especially coming off the highs of like a booming real estate market, and it's
Yeah.
something that no one ever thought would fail, and there you go.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Having a house and, like, just a whole different life, and then all of a sudden it just went, "Boo."
Yeah, that's rough.
Re- restart.
Yeah, that's I
Yeah,
couldn't imagine now. Like, I dabble a little bit in real estate, and I just had a deal that didn't go great, but it's not like I'm destitute, and that is devastating enough. So I can
yeah,
only
oh,
imagine if it's like everything's gone, I wouldn't know what to do.
yeah. So take that deal that you just did, and then kind of like wrap a movie around it. So think that everything that you did on that deal, right? Um, all those hoops you had to jump through. You know, like maybe there's loan documents. Maybe you're doing things for the bank. You're doing things. That's exactly what like a producer does. So that like these are my babies, right? Everything is kind of in a way like a real estate deal. You know, I'm putting together something from the very start. And I always compared it to real estate because you have equity in something, you know, like you could have a raw piece of land and then, you know, like the script is the raw piece of land. And then, you know, you add a director and some name talent. So you have a frame of a building. Now you have something with value, right?
Okay, I
And
see
then
what
you
you're
could
saying.
go and then you could go and you could lend on that value asset that you have there, right? And then, you know, you have appraisals. So I have sales numbers. I have you know, a low and a high end. It's very similar to real estate. That's why I was able to that's what I loved about what I do is because I was able to make I didn't want to do real estate and finance. I liked finance. I liked real estate. I didn't want to show people houses. I didn't want to do that. Um, but I love the business side. So blending that with entertainment was that's when I found my calling.
Was it
20
similar
yeah.
going from fashion to finance and real estate, or was that a totally different thing?
Yeah, it was fashion to finance, it was fashion to real estate finance, to losing everything,
To
to
movies.
the movies, yeah.
But did you find because you're saying like the real estate finance skills transitioned really well into movies, you
Yeah,
just changed the product basically. Was it the
yes.
same from fashion into finance and real estate? Was it like,
Oh,
oh, I
no.
have these skills, I just oh okay, you totally
No,
started over
no, no,
again.
not at all. No, no. Fashion was more about, um, like, how little I can eat and how much I can work out,
Oh,
and
you were like modeling fashion.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
the
didn't know if you were like on the business side of fashion
no, I
also.
wasn't. I wasn't.
Oh yeah, so you're on the side that looks glamorous but is hell.
Yeah. So at a young age, you know, I was taking trips to Peru, you know, just shooting in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and then I was doing the shows in Milan, Italy, and then I moved on to Athens, Greece, and you know, doing a bunch of catalog work and commercials and all this kind of stuff. So I got to travel the world for many years doing like in front of the camera stuff and but never really fulfilled within my heart.
Mhm.
So I was struggling, you know. I remember
Yeah.
being in Japan. I was working with a famous pair of sisters, the Kano sisters, and I was longing for something else. I needed something else, and so I came back home and really wanted to focus on business.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got cool life experience, if nothing else. I mean, you got to live in some awesome places.
Yeah, I would, you know, that's I think that's what makes me such a great producer is that I've seen so many different cultures, religions, lifestyles, and I'm very flexible, right? I've been in all kinds of situations in my life where I've really had to like just mold myself to um a new dilemma, a new issue, and I had to overcome it. So all all of these situations have really made me the producer that I am today. So I'm super blessed because I found my calling. It's like
Yeah.
very, you know,
It's awesome because by the time you were hitting your early 30s, you had lived three full lives and three full careers.
oh yeah, yeah, and three major devastations. You know, it was like
Yeah.
what? You know, there was a time I was really depressed. I'm like
Oh,
I'm
I'm sure.
26 years old. What am I gonna do?
Especially because
I
a
don't
week
even I
before you
didn't have
thought, I got to figure it out.
yeah, yeah, because like I didn't even have a, I didn't have a college degree. I've always been a driven individual. Um and I'm just it it, it was like really scary. It was really scary at that point in my life. So
Yeah. Wow.
I'm glad that's not where I'm glad that I found what I love.
Yeah. Looking back, it's a life lesson, but at the time, I'm sure it was like life's over. Like, what do I do?
Completely.
Okay. So you start producing. You're on the producing end of movies when you first get into the business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do
So
you?
I've stayed a producer. So
Oh, well,
that's
you're still a okay. Yeah.
my forte is like I'm the produced by guy. I'm the guy that comes in and finds the concept. They're my babies. They're my I bring in the creative. I bring in the Rich Ragsdales or the Justin Lees or I bring in the directors, usually writer directors, and I'm working with distribution to mold the product which the marketplace needs.
Okay. That's the role of a producer from an outsider looking in. It's very interesting, but it's also it feels like it's so vast. Like producer could be a named credit because somebody took a look at a script, or it could be someone like you who's literally putting every piece together.
Yeah, so I think that okay, so for film, the produced by credit. All right. That's usually the in charge credit. That's the person that is seeing it from the fruitions from the very birth of an idea to years later when you're collecting money from Italy. You know, you get the whole gambit here, and you're ultimately responsible for everything. You're responsible if you don't make your days. You're responsible if you don't hit your budget. At the end of the day, you are the person that is accountable for
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
So you're on set every day and you're kind of hands on, or are you? They have
It,
to send you stuff every. I'm just trying to get a full idea of like how your day to day would go.
yeah. So I'm always on set. I will leave when I feel like things are rolling smoothly. Like I'll step away from set, but then I'll come back. I I'm aware of everything going on, right? So I'm always in I'm in contact with my line producer, the person that's managing fiscally the budget. They're managing the budget and they're managing the schedule with the AD team, and I'm aware of everything that's going on. And then I'm also dealing with the talent, like on the other side, like talent and any kind of like major issues. Because sometimes like I'm in the background having to deal with governments, I'm having to deal with local authorities because there's an issue. You know, we have to overcome something like tragic. I recently was in another state and we all get there and then they're like, we can't shoot this movie there. And we're like, we just spent, $900,000 just to get here and bring the name of actors here. So what do you mean? And then it was going around, shaking hands, trying to get the community behind the project so that we could shoot the movie and we don't financially ruin ourselves. Uh,
Yeah.
so in the meantime, the director is still trying to like mold the current situation to the issues that we're having. So it's just this dance of trying to provide for the creative team. We're the muscle, we're the force behind cr- giving the director the ability to create.
Okay. So you're taking care of all the nitty gritty, so he could just be creative, or she can just be
Yes,
creative.
correct. He or she. That's right.
Okay. That's cool. That's really cool. It seems like one of those jobs that you never quite like, okay, nailed it. It's going to be easy now. Like there's no such thing as easy.
No such thing as easy. It's every day is you just have to be prepared for the unexpected. And I mean, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you like these are the kind of things that really made me who I am, right? So my whole entire life, all these different things I've experienced have groomed me for being able to handle um, this kind of job.
Okay. I can see that with where you came from and how hard you have to work in both of your previous industries, that like the small stuff probably doesn't really affect you. Like things that might be a big deal to other people, for you are probably like, yeah, we'll get through it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like opposite sometimes. People are like, I'm like, that's nothing. Like, we're good. Don't worry, we'll get through that. That's we can fix that. And then other things I can see, and I'm like, wow, we could have a huge problem if this isn't addressed right now. And then people don't understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then it's you got to articulate to a team of people like what the issues are. And then okay.
I can see that. Yeah. All right. So when
Yeah.
you first get started in this, because it seems, even though some of your skills from real estate transferred over, and maybe you kind of had an inkling that they would in the beginning, when you first get into it, is it just like a movie has to be one of those projects that just keeps growing and you feel like it's never going to stop adding new things onto your plate? How do you kind of go from beginner to just doing it?
Yeah. So my first real feature, A Stranger in Paradise, I had all like the back office stuff down, right? I had all like the creativity down. I'm in the sense of like the finance and the contracts and everything like that, but I didn't have the onset skills. So when I showed up, I ran around like a chicken with his head cut off. I didn't know what I was doing. Like my first movie, I was like, I felt kind of stupid. I was like, because I had this job, but I didn't know how to physically create a movie. I just knew how to get it there. So after my first movie, I decided to make a super micro budget film.
Okay.
Okay, with Tom Sizemore and Cameron Romero, and it's called Auteur, and it was like a $30,000 movie, $25,000 movie that we shot, and I was gonna get in there and like learn how to do every single solitary thing on the movie, like physically understand it at least. Like I'm not a wardrobe person or doing art, but I'm understanding physically like how to get from point A to Z.
Hmm.
So I chose to take on these smaller projects after that to understand the physicality of movie making.
Okay.
So I kind of like reinvented the wheel because I knew how to get the movie. I knew how to get a movie made, but I didn't know how to physically make a movie.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
So I need you have to have both skills, I believe, in order to be a good producer because you need to know the finance side of things, and then you also need to know um, the physical production side of things because that cost, that kind of scheduling, those decisions that you're making on set are huge. Because if you're burning like 20, $30,000 a day, you know, 40,000, you the mistakes that you make on a set have huge financial repercussions.
Yeah, I'm sure that you make a mistake early on it, those kind of stakes, you might not have it at the end.
Yeah, correct. Correct. So that and that's always the fear when you start a movie. You're like, you're going to finish it, but you're exposed. Making a movie when you're physically making the movie, you're exposed. And especially nowadays with COVID and it's like a COVID outbreak is going to, set you back. Um you got to test people out. How long you have a crew sitting there. It extends, uh, hotel nights and per diems. But then you're like, I don't have any more budget. Like,
Right.
okay, let's figure this out. We can't shut down. We got to figure it out.
Yeah, especially when you're so far invested. I mean, not only do you want to get it finished, but it's like we have so much in, to walk away now would just be stupid. Like you have to see it through.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, it's just such a fascinating thing with so many elements to it. I'm like, I don't even know how you look at that and like, yeah, I'll do that. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it does require an army. So it's a matter of like finding people that you can really trust, that you could really think like, I know that this person's going to have my back. You treat it like a war zone, mentally, because you're prepared any minute for like some kind of battle. You have to overcome, you have to beat it. Um, so you have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded and that you can trust.
Oh yeah, it has to be. You have to have your team together.
That's right. Team. It's can't do it without the team. There's no way.
Right, and that's probably something you learned in real estate also, because you need
Yep.
that it's a much smaller team, but you need that core team to get things
Right.
done.
Like, I'm not pulling title. I don't know. Like, you gotta have that team together that you know where to do these things.
Yeah, that's cool. So, how do you first get a project? Do you get like a stack of scripts, or do you get submissions on, maybe video from a writer director saying, "Hey, I want to make this movie. Here's why. Here's my passion."
Yeah. So I get pitched everywhere. It's one way or another. Like, I could get pitched at like people at 7-Eleven, or like, or I get bombarded with emails. Now I have a very specific kind of way of making movies now because I've been doing it for so long. So I used to just read as much as I can and look at different projects and like artistic and but now I'm very specific. Now I've really kind of molded myself to um give the market what it needs, in constant contact with distributors, talking to them, saying, what is selling right now, right? And then once I find that out, then I will mold a project to what the marketplace is looking for. And that's kind of where I've gone. And then I'll have go-to writers or directors that, I'll say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you give me, I need 3 log lines and 3 synopsises for this. And then we take a look and then we narrow it down. And then we say, okay, I want a script on this. And then so it's like a menu. We create we create a product, and it's like a factory. A factory has a very specific way of doing it, and so we're putting it together in a very specific way.
Okay, so for the Long Night, for example, your latest, it wasn't an existing script with maybe even something of a teaser or like some storyboards as a presentation that someone came in and presented to you. You said, "We have these things that we're looking for in this type of movie," and then you found someone who could deliver. Am I understanding it?
Okay, so the what you're saying is correct, but not for the long night.
Oh, okay. So what you
Let-
just
let-
described is it, but that one
yeah,
was an
yeah. So the
exception.
long night, and each movie's a little different, right? But that I described how, like, my business model. Now the long night was brought to me by my old mentor, Ryan R. Johnson, and he had a great script. Him and his business partner, Martin Sprock, they um they had this beautiful estate in the South, in Charleston. And what they did is they wrote a script around this estate, and they brought that to me, because the estate in this film is a character in itself, right? So they brought that to me, and Ryan asked, that I help him produce it. So
Okay.
that's what happened there. And then, also as a producer, it's this movie was very difficult, but very fruitful. So, for example, we started this movie with a certain cast and a certain director, and we had our crew out there. We're ready to start day one. And then all of a sudden there's scheduling conflicts. And then now I don't have a director and I don't have my cast, but
Oh,
I have a
jeez.
crew. But I have a crew. So we're spending money on trailers, on gas, on everything, hotel rooms, and I had just lost pretty much, everything on it. And so Ryan, myself, and our other producing partner, Vasily, we all just were kind of hanging our heads low, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then I had just previously worked with Rich Ragsdale on a film called Ghost House. Ghost House did really, really well. We shot this movie in Thailand. So I proposed Rich. Everybody was ecstatic about the idea. They're like, if you trust them, and this is about the team, because we were like fourth quarter getting ready to just lose the whole game, but we brought in Rich. He was our savior. And then he's like, yeah, I'll take the project, but I want to start making tweaks to the script. So we had like a page one rewrite. Like it was immediate. It was like he came in, it was a page one rewrite, and then we're like, we're Scout Taylor Compton. We're Scout, bro, because Scout was in Ghost House. Because we needed an actor that could really come in and just not only like crush the role and just be a phenomenal actor, but also handle the stress of page one rewrite, getting new pages daily, and not killing us because
Yeah.
that we're it's so chaotic, and Scout's a trooper. She is a phenomenal actor, and having that dynamic between Rich Ragsdale as the director, Scout Taylor Compton, and then Nolan Gerard Funk. Those, so much credit to the three, those three, because Scout and Nolan are on screen almost the whole time. Like you're watching this couple, and
Yeah, yeah.
you just get really enthralled with them. So, and then Rich. So hats off to the team on this. I'm very thankful for them.
Yeah, that's insane, especially having to rewrite. It's not just like, oh, well, it's kind of a small cast. We'll find some actors we've worked with before to fill the roles. But no, it's not even a role you can show them because now you have to change everything.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it was a movie about witches, right? That turned into a movie about folklore, which is we're very happy. It was a long, hard process, but we're very happy with what happened and the team involved and the casting director. There was two, Shan McCanian and Gabriel. We're just super pumped on all the parties involved.
Yeah, it's good. It turns when those problems turn into blessings in a way. I
Yeah,
guess you could say. Like it wouldn't
absolutely.
have been the same movie if it just went on, and it could have been fine also, but it wouldn't have been the same thing.
Right. Completely.
Yeah, and I would ask if that's par for the course, but there probably is no normal in your exact job.
No, there's not. I think that's what makes it, like, that's what I love about it, because I don't get bored. I
Yeah,
kinda
that's true. Yeah.
get bored really quickly. Like, we could be in like, the casting process. I love it at first, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "I'm bored with this."
Yeah.
But then we're moving on, Now it's another hurdle, right?
That's
So,
true. Yeah, it's not like a 9 to 5 where every day for 20 years is the same thing.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's really cool. How it came together and that you have this finished product, and this comes out this Friday as we're recording, February 4th.
Yes, that's correct.
Is there like a site or socials or anything you could point people to?
Yeah, Will Go USA, the distributor. So, take a look. And then it will be up on Shutter as well after 90 days. So
Oh, great. Shutter's huge. Yeah.
we're gonna release February 4th. It will be in select theaters. Throughout the country. It will be on iTunes, Amazon, all the gambit like that. And then 90 days later, you could watch it on Shutter.
Very cool. And I'm guessing you have a lot of other things in the works that you're always looking for the next thing.
Yeah, you know what? I have two movies in post production right now. So
Okay. So
yeah,
you're
I did.
doing more than one of these at a time.
Oh yeah, multiple, multiple. So I have two movies in post, and then I just set up like another three. So this is the movement that you always have to make as an indie producer.
Well, very cool. Damon, that was awesome. I've never actually got to talk to a producer in such depth. So that was fascinating for me. And I'm sure our audience is going to find the same thing. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and tell me all about it.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And reach out anytime you want to do it again for your next thing.
Hey, great. Thanks, bro.
Take care. I'd like to thank Damon one more time for taking time out of his busy, busy schedule to come on the show and talk to us about his life, his past lives, basically, as you heard, and what it means to be a producer, and what it took to make The Long Night. And hearing the story of making the movie after having seen the movie makes it a lot cooler for me. I always like getting that inside look. The Long Night is available now, select theaters, and VOD, so check that out if that's something that's up your alley. Please make sure to like and subscribe. We got a lot more interviews, new movie coverage. We're working on comic coverage. Can't read fast enough. Unboxings, all that and more coming your way. You're not going to want to miss out. Speaking of not wanting to miss out, make sure you listen to So Is Your Podcast every single week wherever you get your podcasts. So Is Your Podcast can also be found on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. SoIsYourPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. And we love hearing feedback, so drop some note in the comments, leave us something on social media. All the accounts can be found after the show and in the show notes. And on a more personal note, a good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. Slice of life, coming of age, takes place in high school, just hits that high school experience, all the insanity that revolves around that. Sorry, the dog came in and distracted me. We take all those things and we run them through the prism of the 90s cartoons that we grew up on and inspired us. We're having a ton of fun doing it. We've been getting some really great feedback. So join in on the fun. You can find all of our issues at socialstudiescomic.com. We're working on Comixology, a few other online marketplaces, and hopefully pretty soon we have some stuff in the works to get us into some comic book stores. So socialstudiescomic.com for now. Thanks.